Hi guys and welcome. So this topic is going to be a short video on the CDCA, which is pretty much at the end of your dental hygiene school career, and it is your clinical test and your prometric test that you have to pass. So first I just want to talk about the prometric test, and that is a clinical based computer exam that you take. It's 120 questions. I think there's 15 pilot questions that don't count. And basically the prometric is pretty simple. If you know what you're doing clinically, you can't really fail the CDCA prometric. We as a class use the Andy RDH slideshow review, and I swear to God that Andy RDH review is literally pretty identical to the actual prometric itself. So that is a given. I think it was $25 for us. I don't know if that was a school discount or something, but it's totally worth the money. The Andy RDH was all I studied for the prometric. That's pretty much all you need to know. I think I also used, I think I just quickly reviewed in my oral pathology book for the prometric. If you have any questions about the prometric, just let me know in the comments and I can go into more detail about the prometric. But I think everybody's stressor on the CDCA is a clinical. So assuming that you're taking the clinical exam in your fourth semester of dental hygiene school, I would start looking for your board patient as soon as possible. Semesters are not as long as you think when you're trying to find a board patient, and finding a board patient is a living hell. It's horrible. Find a group of people, friends that are very you can rely on, friends that you trust, you know what they're doing, you just trust these people with your whole life, because personally we had a great class. Everybody pretty much helped everybody find their board patient. And you get a list of requirements that your patients need. I don't know if it changes every year, so I'm not going to go into detail about what the specific requirements were. You can look them up online if you're not sure. So they're very specific about the services that you need and the type of calculus that you need for the CDCA. So my biggest tip for that is to find a group of friends that you trust that will be there and help you screen every patient. I can't go into that much detail about my patient, but I had an amazing patient. He was, I knew him, he was very, I could rely on him. So that is the ideal situation, is somebody that you know, that you can totally rely on. Unfortunately, a lot of people had to find people other places. I know a bunch of people went to Walmart, to McDonald's, and just told people hey, it's a free cleaning. You sit for me for this day, and it's kind of a long day, but they get a free cleaning out of it. They get x-rays, they get fluoride. If you don't have dental insurance, most people will be okay, I'll come in for a screening. I know you probably shouldn't use Craigslist or any of the internet places to find these people, just because you don't know them, and to bring them into your clinic, you just never know what you're gonna get. So I highly recommend finding these people in person and kind of feeling them out. It is awkward to go up to somebody and be hey, when was your last dental cleaning? Oh, 5 years? You want to come to my school and get screened to see if you have calculus buildup on your teeth? But you basically just have to. We went to classrooms, we walked all over campus, people went to McDonald's, Walmart, literally there was flyers everywhere. You just have to do it, and it sucks, but there were people screened right up into the exam, and if you are lucky, our class was pretty much everybody still helped everybody towards the end. Basically just make sure you know what you're feeling. We have a little box that you could feel the type of calculus that you needed, and make sure that when you're actually going into the pocket, that you feel the calculus jump on your Explorer. That's the main thing, pretty much. So I don't really know what much to say about this CDCA. It's hard, but once your patient qualifies that day, so once you're in the chair, you go through everything, you go through their paperwork, and then you choose make sure your surfaces are correct on your paper and that they're the ones you want to use. And then your patient walks over to the, I can't even think of the name of like the specific names anymore, but like to the examiner's room area, and make sure that they qualify. So they have to agree that your surfaces are qualifying calculus. But I believe, I don't know if these rules stay the same every year, but I believe if you had 2 surfaces that didn't qualify, but you had 2 other qualifying surfaces that you didn't choose, that they could feel, they would give them to you, but you don't know that. I don't know, I'm just talking rules right now, and I'm probably like in your head because you probably haven't looked quite at the rules yet if you're just watching this video. So if you want the link to the rules or any of that thing, just kind of message me or leave a comment, and I can shoot the link in the description or in the comments for you guys. So basically the only thing I have to say for the CDCA, the clinical, is to try really hard to find your patient in the beginning so that you can bring him or her back in a couple times before the exam, so you can get to know them, kind of like know their personality, see what their sensitivity is like, go in a different quad and try to remove a piece of calculus from that quad to make sure that you can remove it. Go through and probe that whole quad and the extra 2 teeth that you're going to use to make sure they are not too periodontally involved. You don't want to get in there on board say and have a 10mm pocket with calculus at the bottom of the sulcus. Like, that's just no good. So make sure you bring them back in a couple times if you can. That's like the ideal situation. I know that's like ideal, but try as much as you can to find somebody in the first couple months of that last semester before, and then you kind of get to know them, so you're not as anxious on boards day. I don't really know what else much to say. Hit that whole quad with the ultrasonic and just scale. You can scale. You've spent like 2 or 4 years, I don't know what program you're in, scaling, so you can scale. And if you made it to the exam, you can scale. Personally, I took the entire, 2 hours? I forget, and it's only been like a month. I took like the entire 2 hours, like I didn't care, and I polished like crazy. Like, you just have to get it off. You have to remove everything in that quad, and you can do it. You have 2 hours to remove calculus from 1 quad and 2 teeth. Hit it with the ultrasonic and scale. Make sure you remove absolutely all of the supra. Make sure you use air completely, like a lot of air, to make sure you do not leave any supra. That is my main tip for the clinical CDCA. If you have any questions, I know I'm very vague, but like I don't know if they change the rules every year or anything crazy, and I know I'm kind of giving you the ideal situation, but just breathe and you will get through it, I promise. Don't worry about the paperwork in the beginning of the CDC, like in the beginning of that day. The CFEs, the clinical floor examiners, will help you with all of the paperwork, with everything. Maintain good infection control and scale your little heart out, and you will be fine. Make sure you go back to each and every single tooth, air and explore, and make sure you go super like in the contacts to make sure you got everything. Like, you only want to have to take this exam once because it's super expensive. So scale and ultrasonic, and you will do fine on your clinical exam and your prometric. And if you have any questions about either of those, shoot me a comment and I would love to talk to you.